My name is Ty Spalding. I'm This is my culture gospel communication presentation. I wanted to start with my connections. So with my um, presentation, will try and do my best to first and foremost do storytelling. That was my main goal with this is to try and have storytelling because that's key for Rwandan culture. On top of this, I definitely wanted to bring in community and unity. Those are two, very deep in their culture, in Rwandan culture. And I also wanted to tie in the genocide, like civil war and unrest. Also, with my hand motions, I'm gonna do very limited hand motions once I start, because that's something that in their culture just intimidates them. Very different from our culture, because of course I love hand motions. And then also limited eye contact. Um, every time I would research like body language, it said one of the things was don't make too much eye contact. So I'll be looking down and looking around and not eyes glued to the screen the whole time. So this is me talking to a Rwandan friend. So in the beginning, the one true God created everything with his words. He created it every day. He would create one more thing and one more thing. And the last day of creation, he created man. He created man from dirt to rule everything as his image. And this man didn't have a companion. And so God didn't think this was good, because every other creature did except for them. And so God took from his side and made woman. And God told Adam and Eve to eat from every tree, every fruit, but there was one fruit they couldn't eat, and that fruit was the forbidden fruit. It was the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And this fruit was the fruit that, after a certain amount of time, they're chilling, living in there, eating fruits, and then all of a sudden, a snake came up and went up to Eve and was like, look at this fruit. And it looks really tasty, doesn't it? This is the one thing that God said not to do. And Eve said, God told me not to touch it, not to go near it, which isn't true. God said to go buy everything except for this fruit. But the snake, the serpent, deceives Eve. And this creates a drift between God and his people, something supposed to be so close together, but it was drifted apart and created strife. And God saw this, and it wasn't good. And so what God did is he chose one person to bless the whole community of people. One person to bless everybody, and this man's name is Abraham. And this one man was supposed to obey God, and his descendants were to obey the one God that created everything and worship the God, and they failed. And that was the one thing they had to do, and they kept failing. They kept going to other gods, and what they would do is they would fight each other and fight against God. And what was supposed to be one unity together, one community, it just spread into a bunch of different divisions. They even spread into a northern and southern division. And as we move from person to person, they just fail and fail and fail. And this leads us to think we need someone who doesn't fail. This person we need. Now the Son of God comes into the world lowly. He comes into the world not even in a hotel, not even in a hospital, but in a manger with the farmer. and had very humble beginnings. Now, Jesus, who is the Son of God, he would heal the sick. He would take away spirits from people. And he would bring this unity back together. He would do the right things. He would obey God. He worshiped God the way that everybody was called to, and brought unity in the way that we're called to. And many people thought that he was a liar and that he was doing wrong, and so they killed him. But the third day he rose again. After 3 days of being dead, he rose again. Now, this rising again, what this shows, what this symbolizes, is that one day we will all rise again. There will be a new creation. There will be a new time where everything is back to being together, back to unity. And all that time that we spent away from each other, away from God, we'll all come together again. That's my presentation.